So remember, I said from the beginning of this lesson, the whole idea behind getting data is you want to try to be able to interpret it and make a decision in the end. Okay. In year 11, in terms of the interpreting part of what you'll be doing, it's just going to involve a lot of writing. Okay, but you want to make sure that when you write your interpretation and what it's asking you to do, that you only write the important stuff. So you don't have to write like a paragraph of stuff, which is not ideally what, as a math teacher, would want to read. I want to look at your calculations and all that. So you don't want to write too much stuff when it comes to this, okay? But you need to be able to write and describe and interpret your frequency tables and your bar charts. And also eventually histograms and your scatter plots. We'll get into that a bit later, but we're going to focus mainly on interpreting your freq tables and your bar charts. Okay, just those two things. Now in terms of interpreting, there's two parts that you need to talk about. Okay, this first part here where it says briefly summarize the context, all you're doing there is you're telling me what kind of data was collected. So if we go back to, say, for example, the bar chart we made for our masks, when we try to interpret this, you could say a number of students in Mr. Torres' class were recorded and we asked them about their masks. You want to mention that. Tell me what it is you're actually recording. Or you could just say the number of students with these color of masks were recorded. So explain the context. You have to tell me what kind of data are we actually looking at. You don't want to just say a group of numbers was selected. Okay, be precise with the context. So you could be like, say for example, we had 18. So 18 students were recorded and the number of masks were recorded in the frequency table. Okay, so you have to talk about the context. Tell me what kind of data you are gathering. And then the second part is you want to just mention what's the most frequent number or the most frequent item in that data. So modal, remember, means the most frequent. If it's asking for the percentage, mention the percentage. If it's asking for the number, mention the number. Okay, but you want to write down what's the most frequent. And then the next part is maybe select like 4 or 5 other items and then just tell me what the number is or the percentage is for that item. Okay, so actually there's 3 parts. So give me the context, give me the mode, it's the most frequent, and then 3 or 4 other items in that table or that bar chart. Let me give you an example. Let's go to this example here, example 3. Okay, so we know that for this table or this frequency table, it's looking at the lunch choices, and there are 3 different choices. Yeah. So in terms of the context, what you want to write here is you could say a group of 30 students. So I would suggest you write this down because this is the report. A group of 30 students. Lunch preference was recorded. Was recorded. Okay, and you can word it any other way you want. You could be like 30 students and 30 people's lunches were recorded. You just have to make sure you tell me the context. Okay, what are we actually looking at? Yes. The example that says, yeah, there's already a solution in the bottom for it. Yeah, but I want to write it down for you guys so we can see how it's put together. So you want to mention the context. Okay, so for this, I might just put a little note here. This is the context here, yeah? So you want to mention the context. In other words, what kind of data, what's the data? Okay, what kind of data are we looking at? So mention the context. That's the first sentence you should always put. Okay, always mention the context. And then after that, you should tell me the modal. What's the most frequent? So what's the most frequent one here, guys? Pi. So and then you write the most popular lunch was pi. And you want to mention the number. Okay. In terms of the number, you can just put it in brackets. Okay. You can put it in brackets. You can say there were 13. Or you can also write with 13 people. Okay, you can just put that in as well. or you can just put the number in brackets. It's up to you. And then after that, you want to mention 3 or 4 other numbers in there. In this case, there's only 2 more. So you just want to say 10 liked salads and 7 liked sandwiches. Okay, so this is what your report should have. Context, and then tell me the mode. So the modal, which is this one. Most frequent. And then the third part is just tell me 2 or 3 other numbers. But you have to mention the numbers for them, yeah? Don't just say next there was salad and then last there was sandwich. You have to tell me the amount for each one. And then mention others. So there's 3 things you have to talk about. What's the context? What's the most frequent? And then talk about the other ones. If there's like 50 bits of data, don't write all 50 of them. Okay, just write the most frequent and maybe select like 3 or 4 from there. So maybe go for the middle and then go for 2 in the middle and then maybe 2 in the end. That's it. Okay, you don't want to be writing too much things. And I mean, the textbook here has really good ones as well, but I feel like it's a lot to read. So you don't want to be writing too much. You just want to make sure you include the really important things there. The context, mode, and then mention 3 or 4 other numbers in there. Okay, easy. Let's see. All right, does that make sense? Everyone's still copying it? I'll leave it here. And then we'll move on to the last one and then keep working. Does that make sense so far? Generally with the reports, it actually doesn't matter if you use percentage or the frequency, which is a good thing. So you can talk about the percentage, but if you do, make sure all the numbers you use are percentages. If you talk about frequency, make sure all the numbers you use are frequency. Yes? This one? Mention others. So you want to say, if there's other ones there, just mention like another 3 or 4. You don't have to mention all of them. If there is another 3 or 4. If not, then...
Let me copy that.
Yeah. So this is the kind of report that we expect you to write in year 11. Okay. If you aren't able to copy it, I'll put it in OneNote or in Teams. Yeah, so you can. There'll be a video. Let's go to the last one. And then I'll let you guys work for the rest of the period. Okay. Shh. So let's go to this one. Example 4 from 2C. All right. So for this one here. This is the question, so this is not the report. It says a sample of 200 people were asked to comment on the statement, astrology is scientific truth, and selecting whether it's definitely true, probably not true, and everything else there. Now, before we actually answer this, what kind of data are we looking at? Categorical, numerical. It's categorical, and is it ordinal or is it nominal? Is there an order to it? I would say it's categorical ordinal. Okay, because if you look at, actually no, it would be nominal. I don't think there really is a way you can order. Definitely true, don't know, because they're kind of like statements. It's not really like a high, medium, low, per se. It's like, it's either this or it could be that. So it's categorical nominal. I'm just going to write cat nom. We know what that means, right? Categorical nominal. Cat nom. Okay, so when it comes to doing this data, in terms of the answer, when we write a report, always write the context. I'm just going to show you the answer here. So the context is given to you here. 200 people were asked to respond to the statement, astrology has a scientific truth. There's your context already. So you want to mention the context. What is the thing that we are actually looking at? What kind of data are we reading? Okay. And then the next part here that's stated is the mode, which is here. The majority of respondents did not agree with 37.5 responding that they believed. Okay, well, the statement was probably not true. Okay, so this is the modal. Mode or modal, whatever you want to call it. And then the third part is they've mentioned every other item that's also there. So they've mentioned, let's see, there's 20, 25, 2, 3. So they've mentioned 3 other variables in there as well. So, and then the rest of it here. Okay, the rest of this is the others. Okay, so there's 3 things that you want to talk about. What's the context? What's the mode? And then tell me about the other ones. Okay, and you want to mention the numbers for each of them. Yeah, don't just tell me that it is this and then not give me the percentage or the number. And that is basically it for 2C for that one.